Hello everyone. This is Dhanalakshmi, Assistant Professor of Deputy Department of R Engineering College. In this session, I would like to discuss about space law treaties, where we have in human rights, the unit 3 is all about international laws. Already in the previous video, we were discussing about law of sea. So now in this video, we'll discuss about space law treaties, that is outer space treaties. Right? The treaties which are dealt with, the laws which are dealt with outer space. So space law treaties and principles, when we talk about it, is the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, because as a mankind, humankind, we want the peace not only in the earth, not only in our planet, also the outer space, also in the outer space. So the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space is the forum for the development of international space law. The committee has concluded 5 international treaties and 5 sets of principles on space related activities. So it has set 5 treaties and 5 principles. So we'll see what is that one by one. So the 5 treaties are the 5 treaties which are framed are Outer Space Treaty, Rescue Agreement, Liability Convention, Registration Convention, then the Moon Agreement. So these are the 5 treaties which have been framed for the outer international space law. So Outer Space Treaty, Rescue Agreement, Liability Convention, Registration Convention, and Moon Agreement. So before proceeding with those 5 treaties, we'll see what are these 5 treaties deals with and what are the issues such as. So when we talk about the 5 treaties which deals about is the non-appropriation of outer space by any one country, right? So no one country can claim that this is mine. No one country can claim on its own, right? Not a single country can claim that my outer space is mine. No, it is common to all. It is common to the entire earth. So no single country, no one country can claim the outer space. Then arms control, then freedom of exploration. Any country, all the countries have the freedom of exploring the outer space. Then the liability for damage caused by space objects. Even any of the nation which is causing damage in that space, they are liable for that. Right? So liability for damage caused by space objects and safety and rescue of spacecraft and astronauts. So we should be concerned with the safety and rescue of astronauts who have been sent there, and also the spacecraft, return of the objects, returning of the launched objects which have been expelled. Then prevention of harmful interference with the space activities and the environment. So it should prevent the harmful interference or activities which is carried out in the space and the environment, to protect the environment. The notification and registration of space activities, because all things have to be registered. Even any objects are going to be launched in the space, or any satellite, any objects which are launched has to be registered, as well as whatever activities that are carried out in the space also should be registered. So registration of space activities, scientific investigation, and exploration of nature. If any natural resources have been exploited in that from the outer space, that also have to be registered. Then finally is the settlement of disputes. One nation should not interfere with the other nations' research activities. So these things have to be taken. All these things will be taken care by the 5 treaties. So we'll see the treaties one by one. And before that, each of the treaties stresses the notion that outer space, the activities carried out in the outer space, and whatever benefits we get out of that should be devoted to enhancing the well-being of all countries and humankind. It is all the benefits, whatever we get by doing research activities or by exploiting the outer space, all should be devoted. All should be devoted to the entire world, and it is not for the one particular nation. So it all should be devoted for the well-being of the humankind or mankind, and as well as for the well-being of the entire earth. Right? With an emphasis on promoting international cooperation. So we'll see the first treaty, the treaty commonly referred to as the Outer Space Treaty. The first treaty will be our Outer Space Treaty, where you can see that. This treaty is dealt with, it is the treaty on principle governing the activities of states in the exploration and use of outer space. So this treaty deals with the activities, it is governing the activities which are being taking part in the outer space, and in the exploration and use of outer space. So exploration and use of outer space, including the moon as well as on the other celestial bodies. So this outer space treaty governing the activities of states in exploration and use of outer space, including moon and the celestial body. It is adopted by the General Assembly in its resolution 2222, opened for signature on 27 January 1967, but this came into force only in October 1967. It's signed on January 1967, but it came into force on October 1967. So the next treaty is all about rescue agreement. You can see that the next treaty is all about rescue agreement. As the name itself tells you that it is the agreement on the rescue of astronauts, rescuing the astronauts as well as the return of astronauts and the return of objects launched into the outer space. So all these things will be taken care by this agreement. So here you can see that the rescue agreement is going to dealt with the rescue of astronauts, rescuing of the return of the astronauts, and as well as the return of the objects which is launched in the outer space. And this got signed in 1968, April 1968. But again, this came into force in December 1968. So this is our second treaty, rescue agreement. Third treaty is liability convention. As the name itself tells you that it is the convention on international liability for damage caused by the space objects. So the nation whichever is causing damage there, they are liable for it. So that will be taken care by this liability convention. And again, this is signed in March 1972 and it came into force in September 1972. Fourth one is registration convention. As we know that all the objects whichever have been launched in the outer space or whatever activities taken care in the outer space and whatever natural resources that have been exploited from the outer space all have to be registered. So convention on registration of objects launched into the outer space. Whatever objects that are going to be launched into the outer space, that has to be registered, and even the activities whatever they're going to carry out, and as well as whatever resources they are usually exploiting from the outer space, all have to be registered. So that is about registration convention. This is signed on 14th January 1975 but came into force in September 1976. It almost takes a year. The last convention, that is the fifth treaty, is the Moon Agreement. As the name itself tells us that the agreement governing the activities of states on the moon and other celestial bodies. So whatever activities that are being taking part in the moon as well as in the other celestial bodies will be governed by this Moon Agreement. And here it is signed on 18th December 1979 and it came into force on 11th July 1984. So these are the 5 treaties. So 5 treaties are Outer Space Treaty, Rescue Agreement, Liability Convention, Registration Convention, then the Moon Agreement. We have this thing called Limited Test Ban Treaty 1963, which started in the year 1963. This prohibits the nuclear test or explosions in the space, underwater and atmosphere. And many countries have signed since 1963, but notably the France and PRC still have not signed this treaty. And we have one more treaty called ABM Treaty, which is nothing but Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty in the year 1972. It's a bilateral agreement between US and Russia. Russia has affirmed this and deploy ABM system around capital and one missile field. Deploy warning radars only on periphery and can't interfere with national technical means of verification of other party. And ABM systems and components cannot be a sea or air or space or mobile land based. Right? So this is about the Treaty of ABM. So the main 5 treaties are the Outer Space Treaty, or for the laws, for the international space law, we have these 5 major treaties: Outer Space Treaty, Rescue Agreement, Liability Convention, Registration Convention, and Moon Agreement. Thank you.